Case.
Yo ninjas, welcome back to the show. NINJABOX is still doing, and what did you guys eat today? Yes, this is the 4th episode of Thorsday at Ninjakees. Yes, welcome back ninjas. Alright, so last week we didn't got any comments on Thorsday at Ninjakees 3. So right now gonna ask a question myself. This will be a shorter video than the other ones because I want to keep this one a bit shorter and I have a bit less time to create this video. So it's gonna be about 30 minutes, aiming at that point. So about 30 minutes to talk about this question. A specific question, a manga kind of question. Just have a little chat about it, you know? Just like as if you were here in the room. So the question is, why start making your manga? That is like, why start making your own manga? That's quite a big question. Because manga making might seem a mystery to some of you and less mystery to others. The thing is, it's a long journey, a long road, a long adventure to actually make it awesome. But why to start making it? That is a real good question. So I can only talk here from my own perspective and what I think other people's perspectives are. So yeah, that is the question of today. So if you guys have any comments already, you can just drop it down, or for the next Thursday at Ninjakees, so that next week we can build on with that for the next episode. Also today we don't have a guest, so there's that. Yes. Alrighty then. So why start making your own manga? Well, I started thinking about it since like at the end of middle school. So here we have middle school, where you have to choose a direction for the higher school. So here we have like 1 until the 8th class, from the age of 4 to 12. And then after that you go to middle school, and middle school is mostly, or high school, is like from the age of 13 until 16-ish, until 18-ish. Depends on how many years you have on schools here. So there are many schools with different years. So depends on what level of, and also the school you chose back then at least. Maybe it's changed a little bit, but it's mostly the same. But depending on that, depends on how many years you have to go. And then, yeah, you have to make a decision. So from the lower school, the lowest school, I already got recommended that I should do something with my hands. You know, that I was always creative. I always drew like back in lower school, from age 4 to 12. Being creative and stuff. I enjoyed doing that stuff. Yeah, like creating things, you know. I thought I was one of the few that drew a lot or created those types of things. Like, yeah, if you know, compared to other people, they enjoy other things and stuff, you know. And at the middle school, the school after the first school, you also have to choose something over there. And there I still created and drew a little bit in here, but it wasn't all that too serious, you know. And then after that school, about the age of 16, 17-ish, you have to choose another school. Well, you don't have to, you can also just work right away. But then you have to even decide further. So even while in that school, I was already thinking about creative stuff. And like over here, Dragon Ball Z was really popular. That was what I loved the most back then. I still love it. It's still my favorite #1 series, Dragon Ball and Z. It started with Z actually over here on television, but that inspired me the most. And And at some point in school, you have to make a decision. Okay, what am I going to do with my life? You know, like, yeah. Like, you have to make a decision. Yeah, for the rest of your life, you're gonna do this or that. And I made a bad decision, or a happy failure, I guess, choosing something else. But when I chose that, it was like a process operator or engineer. I got a bit depressed or something. It was not what I wanted to do. I couldn't be really creative, like with drawing, you know. It's not like it was. Sometimes you had a few classes that was more like technical drawing, like drawing really neatly the tools, or basically technical stuff. But it's not creative, like in the sense of wild fantasy stuff or anime, manga kind of stuff. So that was not my kind of thing that I wanted to pursue, and I just didn't enjoy doing that, like seeing myself like, oh yeah, doing that for the rest of your life. Like, that was not for me. No. So after that, I got to art school, or graphic designer school, because my inspiration was also Dragon Ball Z, to create something like it, or like I didn't knew a lot of manga or other anime and stuff. Like, that came later, and then even got more inspirations. But Dragon Ball Z was like the core trigger for me, why I wanted to even make my own manga. At first, the idea was to create my own anime, but then I learned, well, I knew it before probably, but that the creator, the original creator, started with manga. And you can do that with less people. Like, if you want to make an anime, it's like you need an army of people to create it. So I thought, maybe manga is the better choice if you want to be the one that tells the story. Like, makes the storytelling the key elements of the story, and then let that thing be adapted to an anime. So while making the manga, you have to keep in mind that the manga is adaptable for anime. Like, when making it. Because maybe not everything can be adapted, or are more difficult to be adapted. Like, right now, each year there are 200 new animes coming out every single year. So I guess anime is a bit more oversaturated. Like some of the rappers or something. Like, or maybe even YouTube. Like over here. Like, a lot of people start doing creative stuff with the interweb now, having new gateways to make stuff happen. And yeah, if you can make it happen, or make something that people want and that you want to make, you know, find the balance, that thing, then I think you can make it happen, you know. A lot of people have proven it already. You only have to find it yourself, you know, like, if you want to pursue such a thing. So why start making your manga? Well, I was inspired by Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, and also many other things, of course. That weren't my only inspirations, you know. A lot of cartoons like X-Men, Spider-Man, I used to watch that a lot. Pokemon, Digimon, you know, a lot of the 90s stuff. That kind of stuff was really cool to me, and I wanted to create something like it. But Dragon Ball Z was the main trigger, I guess. I think that was the main trigger, and then later learned about more animes, mangas, and things like that. So that was basically how it kind of started, why I wanted to make my own manga. Like, I started studying for animation, multimedia designer, and also making anime. So that was the first idea, to make my own anime. But that takes way more manpower, so I thought, yeah, maybe it's better to start with manga instead of anime. Well, you could also become like a storyboard artist, or like be the director or something. But I guess, yeah, for now, I have decided at a point I wanted to make manga. because you can do it. You can create it with less people, even alone. If well, you of course need people at some point. You know, especially if you have a weekly series. But yeah, that can be like being inspired by something. I guess you always get inspired by something if you want to create something. Like you have seen something in life, and because you have seen that thing, you want to also create something like it. Or, you know, like a lot of creators got inspired. Even Eiichiro Oda from One Piece, like also my second favorite mangas stories, for me at least. He was also inspired by Dragon Ball. Like Dragon Ball Z inspired so many people, you know. It's like this global phenomenon. Even now, people still love it, you know, worldwide. So I think, yeah, many people even started their stuff because of Dragon Ball. Like One Piece, Bleach, Naruto, a lot of the big three, you know. Now it's only the big one left. Yeah, many. So why start making your manga? Well, that can be one of the ways, you know. I guess you can also just want to create something, like without any other manga anime inspiration. I think Hayao Miyazaki told somewhere in his book, I have that book somewhere, that like back in the days when anime and manga was not as popular, in Japan at least, people got inspired by not manga or anime because there wasn't a lot of it. Like when it started growing, like maybe they got inspired from each other at some point, of course, but before that whole thing started, they got inspired by other stuff. Like Osamu Tezuka got inspired by Disney, for example. Like from what I've heard, like Osamu Tezuka got the tip from Disney. Like he drew the eyes a bit smaller at first, but then Disney told Osamu to draw the eyes a bit bigger to give them more expression, you know, that you can clearly see their emotions, or that their emotions are more clear. So I guess that's where it kind of started why anime, manga have bigger eyes, you know. It comes from the West, from Disney. That was his or their inspiration. Like if you watch the early year animes and stuff, you can clearly see the Disney inspiration. But over the years, it got more evolved and developed to where it now is. Like even now, you can see over the years, like how it got evolved. And another reason why you want to make your own manga, it can be that you just want to tell an awesome story. And if you just want to tell an awesome story, you can also be the writer and work with an artist. Or vice versa, you are the artist and work with a writer. That can also be a reason why to start your own manga. Next to that, you can also just start your own manga for fun, you know, like randomly, like, oh, yeah, let's just check it out, you know, for fun. Or you have a task in your school or whatever, and you have a creative assignment. Like manga is just comics, you know. You just tell a story with pictures through visuals and text, and through characters with their expressions, and through that character, you know, you tell the story to the people. That's also important, that the character, you know, like mostly you follow a character, like that can be related to in some way. Like maybe not always, like you have a lot of crazy manga. And that's also the thing, that there's this wide genre of exploration in manga. So that can also be why you want to start your own manga. You know, there are so many options in manga that it's unlimited. You can make it what you want it to be. Whether it will be successful, that's another thing. But you never know. You can just do it for fun, you know, without even wanting to live from it. For me, also an inspiration is that I want to live from making manga. Or at least something creative. But manga is the main goal. For me, at least, personally. You know, that you can live from drawing manga. I think that's great if you can make it happen. You know, it's not an easy task. It's like a jungle, you know. You have to survive. There are so many competition, and you have to be really good in it, like in art and story, that it matches and that it can touch the people. You know, that they love to read it. And it can even be more popular when it's popular enough to get an anime, of course. Yeah, then the anime is like the advertisement for the manga, or vice versa. Like most famous manga artists have done or are doing right now. Like that is, yeah. Like over here in the Netherlands, like only a niche group can really live from making comics, strips, or manga. Like there are, like manga is just a word, you know. Like even in Japan they say like komiksu, or if you watch if you go buy a manga, sometimes it says comics, you know, with the letters, you know. So it's the same, only yeah, with manga, if you say manga, people have mostly a different visual in their mind than when you say comics or strips. Like when I say strips or strips in Dutch, I have a different visualization than with the word comics. With comics, I get more of the superhero comics in my mind. Of course, that's not the only types of comics, but that is the first impression I get in my mind, because I guess I learned it from, you know, when I was younger. And when you learn words, you get a certain visual with it. So I guess if people use more comics also for the manga type of comics, people can get more, yeah, get that visualization in their minds. Maybe it takes some years for it to, you know, get that way. It's just like that some words trigger different visuals than other words. So I think that with manga you mostly visualize Japanese manga. And some people here don't even know the word manga. Like mango, what mango? What? You want to eat a mango? What? Yeah. Like I think even in an interview in Indonesia or something, when manga wasn't there yet, they were like, mango, what? You can eat it? Or even in real life, like people were also like, yeah, I like to eat mangoes. But actually they meant manga, you know? Yeah. Comics, manga, strips. You probably also have other words in different countries for that kind of medium. But yeah, with manga, at least with comics in Japan, they deal with it differently. So yeah, the question, why start making your own manga? Well, be inspired, you want to live from it, you want to do it as a hobby. Yeah, what more reasons? Just for the lols or for the memes? Or maybe you lost a bet. Like, oh, yeah, if you lose this bet, you have to make your own manga. Or maybe even for a competition. I also made a few short mangas for a competition, which was also a challenge. Like, but I think that, like they say, like if you can make a short manga, you can also make a long manga. So the better you can make shorter mangas, the better you can tell longer mangas. Not too sure if it's completely true. There are many ways to make manga, of course. There are so many ways, like each manga artist has their own way of creating such a thing. Like, yeah, some write it first, or some start with the script, the storyboards, the sketches, without writing it first. Or there are a lot of ways, you know, and sometimes you have 2 people that work on it, or maybe even more people. And some even make manga of anime, like that an original anime was first. Like mostly, like you have manga to anime, like manga gets an adaptation to anime, but you also have vice versa, so that there was first an anime and later they make a manga out of it. So there's that as well. So there are many ways to start it. But me personally, I have a dream, you know, this goal in life, to make my own manga and live from it, at least. So yeah, that because I want to do something creative and tell a story that people across the world love to read. And if you can bring something like that, I think you can live from making manga if enough people are willing to support you as an individual. Or it depends also, maybe if you go to a publisher, I might even do that as well. Like if you get with a publisher, you know, and you can make that work, then you can also live from it. So a reason can also be to live, you know. Why start making your manga? To live, you know, to eat, to have a roof over your head by making manga. So yeah, it's a real challenge. Also got here pure leaf for a change. Mostly drink coffee, but for today I'm kicking off because yesterday night had a headache. I guess also with drinking a lot of coffee, you yeah, too much coffee is not good, or so they say. So for today I try to target to drink no coffee today. Maybe tomorrow again. Probably. But yeah, making manga as a job, especially in Japan, can be a real pain, maybe. Like overwork. Like if you want to be a weekly shonen manga artist, for example, say goodbye to your social life and everything else. You have like, what, 3 hours left in the week? Or the rest is making manga. But if you can manage, I think it's worth it. If you can. Yeah, it's if you're not used to it, I guess most people are not used to it, it's really hard. Like you can also be a monthly manga artist with publishers, or bi-weekly. There's so many magazines, at least in Japan. Over here there's this one magazine, but it's a bit different. Like you have different types of strips in it. It's not like one genre in a magazine, like with shonen manga, for example. There's this one type of manga only. Like shonen, you have shoujo, seinen, you know, that you know that when you pick that magazine up, you only have that type of genre. Like seinen is like for more from 17 plus, I believe, from age 17 plus. And shonen is from 12 to 17 years old boys, and shoujo is for, I guess, from 12 to 17-year-old girls. Doesn't mean that only they can read it, that type of manga, but that's their target audience, the audience they target for that type of manga. That's also a reason, like, why start making a manga and then also thinking, for who? Like, who is my audience, you know? For example, Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball was aimed for, like, Shonen Jump. like aimed for boys from 12 to 17, but way more people read it. You know, it's not only those types, but that's their target. But that doesn't mean that only they can read it. I guess it's, yeah, really handy to have a target audience in mind, and then, you know, build further on it, you know. Yeah. Why start making your manga? Back to the question. So have you ninja so far, you know, want to make your own manga, or maybe have any other questions about that kind of thing? Like maybe even if you're not an artist yourself, you can still make your manga by being the writer, if you can write, or maybe you just want to read it, you know, just get sort of a grasp in the manga making mind to see like what comes from it or to it to even make such a thing, like the making of kind of thing. Yeah, like with anything that's created. Like seeing how, for example, I used to remember that in Discovery Channel they made like Coca-Cola cans or whatever, like you see the whole machines making it and stuff. I think that's sometimes interesting to see, not all the times of course, but it's interesting to see some things being made, at least to me. Yeah, not always, but yeah. Then you can sort of get a sort of a sense, you know. So yeah, conclusion. Why start making your own manga? Yeah, you're inspired by great legends of manga making artists that inspired you to, you know, make your own manga. You want to make something what they have made, you know, or something like it. You just want to do it for fun as a hobby, like maybe for a bet or whatever, or just try it out, you know, if it's your thing. You want to live from it, survive from it, you know, that's also a reason why you can, or why to start your own manga. You made a promise to someone. I'm going to make my own manga. And then we're gonna get married. And you can be the voice actor of when the anime adaptation comes out. Yeah, like the plot of Bakuman. Also a manga adapted to an anime, adapted to a movie, which I recently watched, which is not a solid adaptation, but I think just seeing it with real people, like an actual movie with flesh humans, like they make manga in a movie, like I think that process is interesting to see, like how they make it into a real movie. I don't think so far there are not a lot of real life action or movies with human flesh people, so real humans, not anime or animations. There are not a lot of those types of movies. I guess it's also sort of a niche market. Maybe with comics, are there even movies about making comics? Like an actual Hollywood movie, you know, about, not as a documentary, but as an actual story about making comics. I'm not too sure if that even exists. I know it's about manga. There is one, it's called Bakuman, and there's also a live action series called Blue Blazes, also about making manga, and it's also based on real people. Like you see Osamu Tezuka, you see in it, like it's based in the 80s when manga started rising. It's called Blue Blazes, and it's a series where you also see like people from Gainax, the animation studio, or actors that play them. Like it's a comedy, you know, about It's a comedy about making manga and anime, like a mix of it. Like the main character wants to make anime / manga. He's like in school and stuff. It's a really fun series. I would recommend if you enjoy manga or anime and want to see a live action of it. Blue Blazes, I guess, one of the top choices to watch it, or Bakuman. But I guess Bakuman, the anime, is better, or the manga even. But I think it's still fun to see Bakuman, the movie, with actual live people. So yeah, I probably will make future videos somewhere later, more researched, about why you should make start making your own manga. But for now, it's just a little chat with you ninjas, you know, about my thoughts and what my perspective is of why you should start making your own manga. And you can also share your own perspective of why you start making your own manga. Maybe you already started your own manga, thinking about it, or just enjoy seeing people making their manga. Or maybe have other questions, you know, like about manga making stuff that we can talk about in the next Thorsday at Ninjakees. So yeah, this episode is a bit shorter than usual. So don't forget to comment for next episode for next week at Thorsday at Ninjakees for episode number 5. And yeah, just drop down a comment. And if you want to stay notified, don't forget to ring the bell to see that the new video's up and running, or that the live streams are up. I haven't been live streaming in a bit because of personal reasons. Planning to start soon again, probably next week or maybe Sunday. But we'll let you guys know on the social medias, at Twitter and Facebook the fastest, at Ninjakees. You can see also the links in the description for all that social stuff. Yes, ninjas, so that is it for today. Cheers, ninjas. Ishhhh. Have a great day. Comment down below, and yeah, man, keep living life, enjoy your life, and make the best out of it. Yes, ninjas, thank you very much for watching once again. NINJABOX is Chilly, and see you guys the next time. Peace out.